If you have not watched part 1, the link is in the description. Now let's talk about the generals. The way the writer has used them so far in the story is very impressive. Every one of them is a very unique character, and their impact in the story is powerful. One of the reasons why I am so impressed is due to the limits that the writer is facing. There are different characters, but all of them have the same profession. Thus they have similar paths in life, similar training and goals, lead armies and win wars. And on top of all of that, there are no superpowers in this story, and thus makes it harder to make them unique and to stand out from one another. If there were superpowers, then you can give everyone a different path and a background story, and thus the end result is completely different amongst the generals. But since there are no superpowers, they all had the same path to become generals. They did start at the bottom and did move up the ranks until they became generals. Now let's talk about how they affect the story. As of right now, they are the most important pieces of this story. They are the driving force of the story forward. It's all about them. Whatever the direction the story is going is the result of the generals in one way or another. You have kings in higher position than generals, but their ability to achieve something and affect the story depends on the generals that they have. The kingdom of Qin used to be very powerful, and at that time they had the 6 legendary generals, which they were known not just inside the kingdom but outside as well. The same is with Zhao's 3 legendary generals. The generals are great characters in one way or another, and there are some that caught my attention. One of them is this madman. If I were to ask you guys which general's fighting style is the most unrealistic, I think most of you would say this madman. But actually, it is not. Here's why. Before I start, let's clear something up. Does a general also fight in the battle and not just give orders from a safe place? Yes, they fight. That depends on the general and also on the battle and how things are going. There are times even kings did fight in battles. Now, let's talk about the madman. Is it unrealistic that he is the first to charge the army and hasn't died so far? No, it is not unrealistic. First of all, he did move up the ranks because he's a great fighter, and also he understands battles and knows the risks and how to deal with them. The second, the soldiers at the front are not the best soldiers. No general would want to use his best soldiers as their front line, since you don't know what the enemy will do. They could be trapped, or the enemy will use some kind of tactics that will result in their death, or just surprise them, and that's why you want to use your weaker soldiers, and after seeing the enemy's tactics you can adjust your strategy. And also, if your best soldiers are killed at the beginning of the battle, then the rest of the army will run away. Since even the best soldiers cannot deal with the enemy, what chance do they have? And also the soldiers around the general are not just some random soldiers, but they are the best soldiers in the army, and that's why they get to be near the general. So, in short, it is very realistic for this madman to charge the army and not die. If you are thinking, what about arrows? Well, there is a big misconception about arrows in our time. They are pretty useless in most cases. And besides, they are wearing steel armor, and arrows cannot pierce armor. So even the craziest part of this story is very well thought out, and that's why I am so impressed by the writer. The amount of work that has gone into this story is incredible. The other generals that caught my attention are the Headhunter and Batman. Since I don't know his name, let's call him the Helmet General. That is due to these dumb translators who don't know what their job is. I will talk about the translation on another video. Anyway, the Headhunter is the character that I am most intrigued by, and that says a lot, considering how great other generals are. And the reason for that is his tactics. They are incredible. He's not hesitant to use some unconventional tactics and also very brutal. In times of war, the law falls silent, and he is using everything he can to win the battle. His tactics of abandoning his front line and separate into small groups and send the enemy the heads of killed soldiers is so impressive. If you do this when the two armies are face to face, then it is a 50-50 chance that it will work. There's a 50% chance that they will be terrified and lose heart, or they will be enraged and fight with everything they got, because the people who did that are right in front of them. But if they are not, then it is a 100% chance of succeeding. People fear what they don't know or see. Their minds will go crazy with fear and become paranoid, since they could be next. The enemy could be all around them and catch them by surprise, and do the same to them as well. The Headhunter has no pride, and that's the most important thing for a general. One of the reasons why Caesar was able to accomplish what he did is due to him doing the work that most people will not. One of them was construction. That was a priority, and thus in a lot of battles he had the advantage over his enemies. The other general that caught my attention is the helmet general. I find him very interesting. He lives in his own world. He's not just interested to lead an army, but also the country. I was really impressed when he did ask the enemy to join him because he thinks the country would benefit. He's not thinking just about what is going on at the moment, but very far into the future. I said that the worst thing for a general is pride, and this guy did acknowledge his enemy, praised him, and did ask to join him. I'm not surprised that people consider him dangerous. The best part was when he did run away from Lampi. The difference between losers and winners is that the winners only fight those battles that they can win, while losers fight every battle. The general that I would not want to face him is this guy. Anyway, initially this video was meant to be just one video, and then I had to separate it into 2 parts, and now it has become 4 parts. So the next 2 parts will be about the animation and the translation. They will be posted very soon. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.